Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, know nothing, control everything. We just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. It's always appreciated. We get a ton of people that reach out via email at Christian at Trust Christian. So we just always appreciate everyone that reaches out. This is the vault, episode 215, dealing with cashless society. And so we definitely have to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, because we do get consultations, people that ask us about these things. And just if you're not aware, feel free to shoot out a topic over to the vault. We're always sourcing content, whether it's from trustees or whether it's from actual consultations. This is our way to give back, so you don't have to. People say pay price to action, but there is a pay price to action. Whether you're investing your time or whether you're investing your money, and obviously the vault is going to always show high levels of appreciation for everyone that comes through and lends your ear, lends your heart, lends your time, lends your money, any of those things. We respect that, and we always appreciate that. And if you don't know, we do appreciate that. Listening to the vault and moving forward, whether it's with consultation or trustee training, this is what this program is all about. It is to ensure families are moving in capacities that they obviously want to be in, and as well moving in capacities where they feel that they actually are preserving their family in a proper fashion and not having a complete public education. There are people that are demanding a private education right now, what will be considered an alternative education. It is an international education. It's pretty much a contract education because, ladies and gentlemen, we're dealing in contracts. So we definitely wanted to talk about this episode today, which is dealing with cashless society. And so many people have come to the vault for years and asked about this term specifically more in the past few years. The 18 wave, 2018, 2019, where you saw Bitcoin has, or we don't need to isolate any particular coin, but that's one of the front runners, or any of these cryptocurrencies or anything of that nature. We do see a large population that has a huge interest in this. They are very excited about this form of payment, this form of transaction, especially dealing with a bunch of techies, a bunch of younger people in this sector where they are looking to literally what they call break free of the chains of what will be considered central banking. But how is it, we can start out the episode, cashless society, how is it that the banks are invested in these things at this point? Literally, when the market was falling, the banks were investing in the technology. So, how is it decentralized? People are utilizing these technologies because it's just that. It's a technology. It's something that allows these banks and or any enterprise utilize what people would consider called smart contracts. You can look up that term, is an actual term. They're trying to use higher level of security, higher level of encryption, because they want data to be protected. See, when transactions are done all the time, this is how you say, well, how did $2 trillion just vanish out of the government's hands? First of all, you're the government. How did the money vanish out of your hands, out of everybody's hands? But they did. Billions of dollars are lost. You all can look up trillions of dollars lost by the government. How do you lose it? Well, that's why this technology is so powerful because businesses are going to protect themselves with the GDPR, which is the pretty much the internet sanctioned or authority figure right now over these internet websites when it comes to internet privacy and things of that nature. A lot of websites are trying to comply with these regulations that are being put in place for internet security, internet transactions, particularly transactions that are going through what will be considered wireless communications and technologies. And so you're seeing a shift in people wanting to be more sophisticated with the technology and more secure in their transactions. When you hear banks literally creating phantom accounts, people want to know what's going on. And so the ledgering will not be fudged as people would like for it to be because they know that the books are being cooked. And so, since people know that the books are being cooked at certain levels, people are creating technologies right now that are looking to ensure that there's higher levels of security and encryption with the data that is being sent, not just financial, but otherwise. When it comes to any industry right now, there is a huge boom in the internet security market. And so not only is that obviously security that's going to be in regulation and law, so you're seeing a ton of internet laws that are being passed on a continuous basis because of the lack of so-called disclosure. Not only that, but you're wanting to see a higher level of accountability. And so these platforms, such as cryptocurrencies, provide a higher level of encryption and accountability. The ledgering is what people would like to say is private, but it is a record. So in turn, if that record ever needs to be displayed for record, there is a record. And these transactions have eliminated people that could possibly be manipulating the market. But how is that the case when banks have already bought the cryptos, the ones that people think went down? They think that they just got wiped out of a wealth transfer. They did. They got wiped out of a wealth transfer. They lost their position because the market has just been flooded, period. It's been flooded. And so, what do you do when it's high? You sell. Ladies and gentlemen, all of them are not back at their lows. They've incrementally climbed up. Just like everything does. Nothing just completely falls and nothing just completely goes up. So there's things called market cycles. Well, you all remember the internet if you're old enough. Of course, there's millennials that listen that don't remember the internet bust in 2000, 20 years ago now. But there was an internet bust. There was a dot-com bust in 2000. And so what happened there? We saw a change in marketplace. There was a complete shift to more online buying, online shopping, more integration of internet and daily usage, whether that was GPS with Google Maps or people integrating more voice technology such as Siri, people even integrating music with their telephone device that they're mobily walking around. And so people are actually living more now than 2000 when they call these people crazy. You all remember, you can go look up Amazon stock in 2000. Boy, would you have gotten a deal, right? 20 years ago. But now all of a sudden, we're in a marketplace where people think because there's a new technology that's introduced, which has been around for a while, but it slowly has its burn, just like the internet has its burn. The internet has had its burn. It's not even at its max. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, then we got our audience that remember in the 80s and in the 90s when they were pushing computers, talking about this new web thing. What happened? People shunned it. They said, oh, that thing's not going to work. No one's going to be doing anything over there. It's not secure. So we go back to the internet security. We go back to the intellectual property security. What is the intellectual property security? It's financial information. It's data. It's data. Data is a big business right now. Everybody knows this. Everybody traditionally over the internet is wondering, is their data protected, ladies and gentlemen? They want to know, is their data protected? And so, what is this data? Is it just finance? Or can we say that the data is information? Because we are in an information age. It's not just financial. But particularly, we've heard this argument that we're going to, in our lifetimes, see a complete cashless society. So this is the Vault's argument, ladies and gentlemen. We sit in a room with asset managers that manage billions of dollars, okay? They manage billions of dollars. They already know. They've invested into technology. All the banks have said, get out of that market. Why? Because it's bad. There's no real laws in place for the crypto. And so it's an unregulated market. So guess what? The banks have told people on the public side, yeah, if you're trading cryptocurrencies through our bank, guess what? That's an unregulated asset. It is an asset. Why? Because it has value. It fluctuates on the so-called crypto market. And then they also came up with other markets that they're introducing the coins and introducing the technology to. But at the same time, the banks have invested in the technology. And people say, oh, it's going to be a cashless society. So cashless society means that you don't have any more cash. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to pose the so-called argument or debate. The point being, when we sit in the room with the billionaires, they already let us know. Ladies and gentlemen, a penny doesn't have copper in it, but there's still pennies in existence. Ladies and gentlemen, when people say that there was a wealth transfer or a shift in monetary policy, when it went from silver dollars on paper to Federal Reserve notes, there was a shift in wealth. That doesn't mean that bills or notes are not still utilized. They will be utilized. Why? Because they deal with contracts. Just like pennies deal with contracts. They're mediums of exchange. Contracts are just that. The cryptos deal with that aspect of business. They deal with smart contracts. So there will be no cashless society. There will be a society that is highly integrated with the technology of having wireless payments. Let's talk about these wireless payments because there are countries that are operating off of these wireless payments. We have countries such as India that is a predominant user of crypto wireless exchanges. These crypto exchanges going from one coin to the next coin, some type of swift transactions. Then we get into other countries such as Tanzania, Kenya, countries that predominantly the entire city is pretty much operating off of Wi-Fi, where the main city is operating off of cryptocurrencies. Why? Because now we see countries such as Venezuela and even other countries that say, hey, we want to create a crypto to our money. Oh, people didn't want to believe that there's going to be a crypto inside of the internal system. Oh, the central banking is going to be eliminated. How? They're already invested in the technology. Of course, there's going to be an internal crypto. Why? Because it's not a crypto of a coin. It's a ledgering system. It's a ledgering system. Period. It's a proper way to keep ledgering, which is from the beginner to the end user. Well, guess what? Who just got eliminated? Banks. They didn't know. You thought they people say, "Oh, the central banking just got out of the way." No, they didn't. They actually just invested in the technology. How many people were invested in the technology, but they were looking to get high capital gains, high levels of appreciation. They were looking to get in, buy and hold an asset, and then sell it when it was high. How many people sold it when it was high, or they literally went up, and it's just as fast as it went up, they saw, okay, wow, there's some depreciation or some loss in the asset's value at this current moment based off of market conditions, and now we have to deal with that. Because are you investing or are you trading? See, if you are investing, you are sitting in it for a period of time. But most people didn't want to say that they were investing. They were really trading. Bottom line, period. They were trading. They were wanting an asset to go up and they were going to sell it relatively quickly. But most people didn't. They got out or they got wiped out. We remember on the Vault, our channel, when we talked about cryptocurrencies and all these things, it was a wipeout for some people. Just like this current moment is a wipeout for some people. Their savings, their traditional checks. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity to literally take a quality look at the asset class. It is an asset. It's been named that through many organizations. It has been claimed an asset. A lot of people have been asking, is this an asset? Is this cryptocurrency of validity? Have any validity? Of course it does. And that's why we see that there will not be a cashless society. Why? Because it's a technology, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a replacement to money. It's something to make transactions have more accountability. So looking at these technologies in a proper perspective will allow us to know how to deal in the public sector. Because this is a technology right now that is beyond its time. It was 10 years ago when it was out and it was at $0 or $300 or $700. And now the fact that it's worth thousands of dollars still. And the fact that there's other people in this marketplace that are developing the technology to give it validity. For the transaction ability, the accountability, the ledgering. People say, but it's private though. How are they going to sell it to the public? How is the public really going to keep people accountable if it's a private market? Ladies and gentlemen, we've already shared with you. They're putting laws in place for it. They're putting regulations in place for it. So yes, it is a real market. They're already passing laws for it. There's going to be a foundation which has been built and it's going to continue to be built. But if they still have pennies, quarters, dimes, and nickels, which none of them are truly their own metal, a nickel's not nickel, a penny's not copper. What happened, ladies and gentlemen? That's called a wealth transfer. And when people don't have the proper financial education, they fall into the trap of not knowing what's the difference between a real asset and a paper asset. Oh no, there's no such thing as money. Right, there are things called paper assets. The house that you're living in, if you don't have any money, you can't live in it. Oh, no, that's not true. Sure, we hear this all the time. And the ones that believe that don't have anything. But when we sit around asset managers that have capital, that have these paper assets, that are trading these so-called smart contracts, we see that there will be no such thing as a cashless society. There will be an improved society with higher levels of accountability in the particularly the financial sector. But the best part about it is this technology, that crypto technology, is so dynamic. There is a new DT which is called a disruptive technology. That's why it was imploded. It wasn't exploded. It wasn't destroyed because the market is not gone. People saw a high and then they saw a new low, but it's not at the lows anymore. It's eased its way back up. Maybe not to its previous highs yet, but didn't we just see that in the stock market on the public side? The market took one of its biggest dips. Oh, they call for a recession. Oh, they call for a depression. Ladies and gentlemen, the stock market still today in 7/14/2020 is at an all-time high, ladies and gentlemen. What cashless society? People are paying for things utilizing money and paper, assets. They're being traded. People are exchanging their energy through paper assets, not just through electronic Swift pays. It should be a very exciting moment in history for technology and in particular money and cash and transactions. We've had people make the argument, oh, well, cash is dirty. They need to eliminate it. It doesn't have high levels of accountability. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not aware that they burn money after it goes through circulation? See, money is living just like us. Currency is living just like us. It has a serial number, just like humans have social security numbers, or whatever country you're in, you have some number. See, they track you through numbers. So what difference does it make if it's cashless or not? All it is just numbers on a screen now. But they didn't replace money. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, didn't they have coinage, hundreds and thousands of years ago? Not hundreds of thousands, but 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. Didn't they have coins, hard tangible medium of exchange 1,000 years ago? They have this on record. They have these things recorded. People want to say there's no such thing as money. How? They had money utilizing real coins. Okay. People have evolved. Ladies and gentlemen, are you not aware that there are over the world has grew 5 billion people in 100 years? 5 billion people, minimum 4 billion people. So utilizing the thing that they try to say is scarce, which are called precious metals. Why do you think they're called precious? It's because they're in limited supply. Why? The easiest way to do it is we're just going to print money now. Didn't the previous historic communities print money? Yes. They went from hard coin to start a society. Why? Because hard, tangible assets create a society. That's why when people say, oh, the United States left the gold standard. How did they leave the gold standard and you can purchase gold and silver right now with money? What's not backing it? Ladies and gentlemen, are you not familiar with the United States Mint printing gold and silver? This is the doofus test. Not letting someone claim something that you're not able to fact check. You can fact check that. The United States Mint prints gold and silver. Just because someone came on the news and told you that something is scarce doesn't mean that they're still not digging it up out the ground. So once again, yes, there is hard tangible asset, money, gold and silver. But what happened to the cash? The cash is a lighter medium of exchange. Obviously, gold and silver is going to be heavy if you're carrying a ton of it. So an easier medium of exchange was what they did with contracts. They made easier system of transactions. Not only did they have a medium and system of transactions, they have serial numbers on these things. Every bill has a serial number on it. Oh no, they're not keeping track of it. That's been the issue. How well has tracking been? Well, when you're utilizing paper technology for transacting, ledgering, bookkeeping, people can say, hey, you erased that because you did it in pencil. Well, you did it in pen. So they wanted to leave that system. It's a group consensus. Everybody wants more security, correct? So they went to an online system. We can track it. Oh, people thought that was the slick move. People said they would never put their credit card online when the internet first came out, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe there's so many younglings that listen that they don't know that people would say such a thing out their mouth. But people said, I will never put my credit card online because I don't trust it. This is the previous generation. Oh, okay. Now people are screaming, oh, money's going to go away. There's going to be no more paper in society. Ladies and gentlemen, they still got pennies. They don't have copper in them, but they still have pennies. The United States still prints gold and silver. So where's the truth coming from? It's coming from you fact checking. Fact checking says that yes, is the transacting system that is being created through crypto technology, through ledgering, which it is, ledgering through words and through numbers, tracking. They're putting hard security in place. You're seeing hard security come in place right now, which is incredible. This technology is revolutionizing. Literally, it was like the fast kid that just showed up in the neighborhood. They're faster than everybody else. And that's what the technology was. It was so fast that somebody just knocked the kid off their bike. They got tired of seeing that kid go fast and do tricks. Somebody got mad and they said, "Hey, we're going to knock that kid off the bike. We're going to make sure that this market is not available right now." You hear so many elite or so-called wealthy individuals say that's a piece of trash market. It's nothing. It's trash. It's garbage. Ladies and gentlemen, if it has no validity, can you trade your dollar bills like they can trade their dollar bills and get a what's considered that asset? Yes, they can. Well, if something doesn't work, that means it doesn't work. Clearly, it works. You can actually trade out an exchange in a position. Well, guess what? The same banks that told you that it's illegal to do that because of regulation right now, they actually bought the technology right in front of your face. You didn't hear about Bank of America or all these other major companies that said uh, they don't believe in the cryptocurrency, but then they also had crypto conversations when the market was booming, when the market was busting. They were having conversations with these people how to implement their ledgering system to have higher levels of accountability in the companies. There will be no cashless society. There will be an evolved society. There's no need to fear doom and gloom. There's a society that says, get your money. Get your money. That's what the society is saying right now. And this is a massive opportunity for investment and growth. And doing your due diligence always provides that. So appreciate everybody for tuning in live or listening to replay. We don't have any issue with the argument or the debate of, oh, is crypto a cleaner way of doing business? Clearly it is. It's more efficient. Of course, it can replace money. When we say replace money, it's a very broad stroke. But will it introduce more seamless and wireless transactions? Yes, it is. Think about how many people are online shopping right now. It's nothing for anybody to just go into Amazon and say, okay, Amazon has a internal currency called crypto. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, Facebook wanted to create its own coin, Libra. If you really believe that Facebook is still not developing Libra, people are sadly mistaken. Yes, they've been blocked. Why? Through regulation. But there's still a market there. There are countries operating off this technology. There are countries. We've heard countries say we're ready to go into a position where we can use this type of technology for assets internally in our country and rebuild our currency back off of hard tangible assets and quality bookkeeping. Oh, really? Okay. So there is a shift, a quality positive shift towards accountability with financial transactions as well as data. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in live. We got some people tuning in live from Antioch, California. Appreciate you. Where else is everyone else tuning in? You guys can feel free to let us know where you're tuning in live or listening to replay. But we're open to questions. This was not to be up for debate, but want to address some people's concern. You know, obviously people come into the consultations. They ask us about the cryptocurrencies, where we see it. We're sitting in a room with asset managers that have already invested in the environment, ladies and gentlemen. They may not say in the public that, hey, they have holdings in the technology, but it's not just a coin. You're not just purchasing a coin. People are investing in the development of quality bookkeeping and ledgering. That is what the system provides. It provides higher levels of accountability and data security, period. And we're open to hearing how these technologies will continue to develop. People say, well, it separates people from the government. You really think so? Why do you think Libra's on hold right now? You think he doesn't want to put an internal coin inside of the company? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're on Facebook, you're familiar with Facebook Marketplace. People are selling things through the internet right now on Facebook Marketplace. It will be nothing to introduce a coin that says, look, don't worry about it. You don't want to get with any liability from the public. We have an internal trading system, and now we can track how much money is going through our system. We can track how valuable our asset is. Why? Because people are actually transacting through our company, not just getting on and surfing. We're not just making money through marketing now. The platform will be evolved, but people have oh so forgotten. There will never be a cashless society. We can go on there and say that. Why? Because guess what? The same thing that just happened in the past 100 years with the gold going into paper or silver going into paper, they did that thousands of years with the Romans, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't these people outprint their currency? Didn't these people issue paper currency to their people? Didn't they issue debt notes thousands of years ago? So if there's these geniuses in power now, these geniuses that are going to implement this so-called less powerful position, didn't they study history in the first place? That you can't outprint assets? No, you can't. But quantitative easing has said we already know that there's not enough value in the marketplace. Why? Because we're going to give you the cheapest thing that you can hold on to. It's called paper. Guess what? The real dollar, the silver dollar, today, looking at the marketplace, it was over $20 an ounce. But it says one United States dollar. You can always trade out of paper. Get into what? Hard tangible asset. Get into value. Oh no, but you want to go to the cashless, right? Yeah, because that makes everything easier. But what happened to holding hard tangible assets? Okay, we're going to leave that alone. Because people want it to be cashless. Do you hear the social programming for people? We want it to be cashless. You hear people okay with it. But what happened to the real money that everybody wants to talk about? The gold, the silver, the precious metals, the collectible art, the diamonds, the things that when you trade into has hard tangible value. Something that you can go into another jurisdiction and you're not going to lose. Something that's not completely debased by inflation. Here we go. We got a question on the floor. What if a person has coins that have real copper, nickel, and silver? Ladies and gentlemen, you can literally go on the public stock market and see how much they're worth. Because obviously the pennies or whatever that is has been subverted or has been exchanged and diverted, which is called a derivative. It's just a chopped down version of real money. And so when we talk about the copper and silver, those things have value on the marketplace. Copper's up, silver's up, nickel's up. Why? Because they have value. They're not based off of a paper currency, not based off of a third party note inflated entity. People want to go cashless though. They don't even want to deal with the paper that they have, which is still has some value over even the internet wireless stuff. They want to go cashless. And by going cashless, they will find out that real tangible asset will always rule and has never left. Just like they had thousands of years ago coins then that they literally debased because you think they didn't overprint coins then? They overprinted coins. And then they replaced it with cheaper metals. It was supposed to be a silver dollar then, and guess what? They debased it with some sub metal. And then they lost their height of their society. Well, where are we at today? Most countries are not going to go back into repatriation of gold and silver. We may see places that want to do that. But this is why they won't go into that. Because we know who's in control of the world, whether you know it or not. Who's in control of the world is the IMF, the International Bank of Settlements, International Sovereign Wealth Funds. These are people that have said, okay, not only are we not going to just hold cash, we're going to create conglomerates. We are going to come together in families, in countries, We're going to create sovereign wealth funds. We're going to create conglomerates that we put our private wealth into in perpetuity. And we're going to be the bank for the world, the World Bank. The World Bank's going to give you a loan now. Don't worry about central banks. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go online and actually look and see, obviously, that the IMF and the World Bank actually is giving a lot of countries loans. Don't most countries most countries owe the IMF? The money that you may be using is on consignment, being lended to you through a third party central bank, supposedly, but then who's giving those central banks capital right now? Because they fudged the books. Okay. Well, now we're in an environment where cryptocurrency is going to ensure that these people are acting in the proper capacity now. Not in the personal capacity and stealing wealth from the corporations and the people. That, hey, look, they're going to have higher levels, the highest level of security through encryption. And it's only going to get better. Only going to get better. People already love it. They're like, oh man, I could just send you money directly through the internet. Right? Nobody's involved. It's private. It's got a security. Right? And then there's some other things that go along with it. But if it was so harmless, why did the bank say you can't do those transactions through our company? You can't go on. Well, you guys can go do your research. Can you go and start buying those coins through banks and go in the bank? How about you go in the bank and tell your banker that's what you're doing with the account? See, this is total transparency. This is what the bank is going to have to provide to the gov when they come after and say, guess what? Who are you letting put money through these systems? Let's look at these transactions. We don't want you to fudge your books. We don't want you to misplace a name. We want the timestamp through and through. And what did the bank say? We're not ready to give you that level of disclosure. So guess what? Hey everybody, if you're at the bank, guess what? You can't do that anymore. We're freezing your account. We've had many trustees and people that were in the public sector that were dealing with cryptos, and banks were like, hey, look, you can't do that through our bank. You can't go and get crypto. Why? Because it wasn't tracked. And they knew it. It was unregulated, as they call it. They say it's unregulated. They say we're regulated. We don't want the common people to regulate it, to deal with the unregulation. It almost makes you want to think, who's going to pay for the regulation as far as a lobbyist right now? How are the poor people that want to use it are going to pay for the lobbyists to make sure that it's in their favor? The people that are lobbying for cryptocurrency right now are the banks. But you thought it was decentralized. What a novel thought. If you have no money to make a change, clearly there will be no change made. They bought into their position. They said, look, we're going to get these nerds to create this technology that we can at least utilize if we need to. So what makes you think that because the banks invested in it, that they don't have a hand in it? But oh no, it's decentralized. Ladies and gentlemen, who controls the media? The banks. Of course they put a message out. Don't buy that stuff. It's unregulated. We're not in that environment. We're going to tell the gov we're not in that environment. But then you see all their CEOs come on TV and say, well, we want to at least look at this technology and integrate this technology into our system. Oh, wow. Greetings. We got a question on the floor. Feel free to type in your questions about the Cashless Society into the chat. Feel free to type in even where you're listening in from. We got Nashville, Tennessee. Appreciate you for tuning in live or listening in. Uh, Next question is so if someone is trading with the USD or crypto, what should one exchange their profits into? And this is obviously a general question for the floor. It's not something that obviously is going to be overly answered in the public because every situation is obviously specific. And everybody has a different agenda. What are you looking to do? It's like, ladies and gentlemen, it's like asking you all, do you all not know that colleges are run by endowment funds, which means they have an asset manager? What makes you all think that the asset managers, these smart young techies, or these older gentlemen and women that are investing, literally they're investors, professional investors, they're investing from a professional position, and you think that they don't have an eye for crypto? Ladies and gentlemen, Harvard actually has a cryptocurrency class. What makes you think that they're not investing in it? So there are nonprofit organizations such as colleges, if you didn't know, they're nonprofit organizations. They're schools. It's charity. Colleges have already came out and said we don't even need people to pay us to come to our school. We could cover everyone that comes to our school just in numbers every year through our endowment fund. But most people don't know how to get those funds. But they do. They're grants. They come from the endowments that set up the school. So it's a very interesting system. But to the question at hand, which is when we talk about the exchange, clearly you're talking about, once again, your agenda. Where are you looking to put it into? Are you looking to put it in a profitable position? Are you looking to put it in a non-profitable position? What makes you think that charities don't hold assets? People are growing things from a charitable position. So when you say where do you put it, some people already have it in that position. They don't need to put it anywhere. It's already growing from a tax exempt charitable position. That's what the hospital's doing. That's what the local library's doing to keep books coming in there. The local people are going to the free library to get books. They don't pay to rent books. What makes you think that the library's not going to go check out in crypto technology and integrate it into their library system so they can keep better track of the books? Once again, we've already reported and talked about the fact that it is a ledgering system. It's accountability system. People's books are the books are rented out through numbers, accounting. They're accounting for where the books are going. So when we talk about where you should put it, we could give you the doofus advice and say, oh, go talk to your financial advisor. What are the financial advisors in the marketplace saying right now about crypto? Oh man, that's a volatile market. Don't they always like to use that famous word, volatile? It's volatile out there. If you only knew what volatility was, ladies and gentlemen, on the private side, that means opportunity. It's unfortunate that people on the public side are scared of volatility. Why? Because when you have a lack of a financial education, then of course you're going to be scared. There's financial instruments and financial information that people that don't make under a $250,000, they don't have access to. Unless you're sitting in those rooms with high net worth individuals. And they're telling you what they're investing in. They're telling you what the deals that they're looking for. Appreciate the Bay Area and California for tuning in live. But there's no such thing as the cashless society. Please don't fall into the black hole of not trying to make any money and actually invest in a quality market, which the banks, you got to follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. Who's investing in this technology? Who's holding it up? If the so-called common man is not holding it up, who's holding it up? The banks. Is this how everything will be chipped and tracked? Everything is currency completely. And so when we get into an environment of tracking, I mean, once again, we're in an environment where people want this. This is the whole, hey, I want to shop online. I don't want to pull out my credit card. Why do I need to pull out my credit card? I already have my profile saved on Google. Remember how you shop on Google and ask you, do you want to save your credit card? Well, yeah, okay. Well, when you walk into Amazon, when you walk into Whole Foods, since Whole Foods is owned by Amazon, and when you walk in there, you say, do you have a Prime account? Your Prime account has your credit card. Why do you need to pull out your credit card now? Cashless society. Oh, really? Now, what makes you think that Amazon or any major corporation, for at least the next 50 years to 100 years, because remember, it takes a while for them to debase the currency. What makes you think, and the companies aren't the ones doing it? Because we've already reported that Apple is getting money back from people's cell phones that has gold and silver in it. They already have recycle programs. So, what makes somebody think you're going to walk into a company and they're going to say, we're refusing your cash. We're refusing your pennies and your quarters. We're not going to count out those quarters and those nickels and those dimes. Yeah, that's a little cumbersome. But at the end of the day, cash has always been king. You hear the saying and people want to ignore it. They didn't say cashless is king. They didn't see cashless was queen. Credit was queen. Credit is an expansion of debt. What is debt? Contracts. Bad contracts. Most people think debt is horrible. They think cash is king. So most people don't want to get into credit. But sticking to the cashless society, where's the credit going to come from in a cashless society? Don't worry about that. That's what's being said. We're going to make sure that what you have is what you have because that's through proper accounting. And there will be an expansion of credit because it is an expansion of credit because it's what? Through contracts. So credit won't be debased in a cashless society. Cashless credit will be promoted even more. Why? Just build up your debt profile. What do you mean? It sounds like the current system that's already in place. We have a higher level of accountability. We know it's actually you doing the transactions. Why? Because it's being tracked. And we have a key. And we have security. These are the buzzwords we should be looking for. And these are the environments that we should be investing in as a people, not as just a few corporations that see the benefit of getting in right now and literally getting in where internet was in 2000. Everybody knows Amazon wasn't what it was 20 years ago. And it's going to keep growing. Welcome to the new McDonald's. Welcome to the new Walmart. But it won't be cashless, ladies and gentlemen. This international tracking of debt. How many people in the world right now have student loans? People are literally defaulting their countries because they're not paying student loans. You're going to default the same people that gave you a so-called free education or a subsidized education. People are going to default their own government. And then they wonder why the system is going to have to involve more tracking, more ledgering, and better accountability. They want to cheat the system. No, no, no. No, no, no. Never will happen. Oh, wow. We got somebody that typed into the chat. Pizza Hut. Go fact check, everybody. Pizza Hut and some other businesses are not taking cash at this time. And we can see that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's nothing wrong with a company telling you, hey, look, we're not accepting that form of payment. Doesn't every business have the right to say we don't accept that form of payment? Okay, no problem. That's business as usual. You either have the cash on the way that they're asking for it, whether it's tangible or online. But either way, if you want what you want, you're going to pay them the way that they want to be paid. Period. So, no cashless society, but we will see definitely more developed countries continue to develop the technology where you'll see more and more developed countries, which we see in many countries around the world right now. Korea, one of those countries, South Korea, specifically making it a point to develop their technology to where a lot of transactions are done through internet payments, these little crypto type technologies, online payment systems, just a lot of those things. We see that. And so these technologies are going to continue to be used in developed countries. Don't be a slave to propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. Do your facts, do your research. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Thank you for listening to The Vault. This is episode 215. We got another question. Uh-oh. Health food store. Buy me now sign saying national dimes and nickels and quarter shortage. Debt and credit only. Interesting. And these are the type of signs you will see because the marketplace is changing, ladies and gentlemen. And you're seeing the technology collide with old thought processes, whether it's real money versus paper money or paper money having any validity in the online marketplace right now, which is dealing with more of just online ledgering, digital currency, things of that nature. We're going to continue to see a shift in thought process. And so, what are you going to do? Are you going to get swallowed up by the wave like people did when the internet wiped them out? Or are you going to actually invest and put yourself in position where when the market recovers for these internet technologies to go to the upside, you can see that you were in position just like the other elite and wealthy were in position for the growth of a technology that literally took the world by storm and it gave people some people got rich, Some people lost so much money, they committed suicide. So we appreciate you all for tuning in live, listening to replay. Thanks for sharing this with your friends and family. We'll hear from you all, Christian at Trust Christian. Peace.